Welcome to the Your Business on Purpose podcast, the ultimate resource for women business owners looking to confidently navigate their entrepreneurial journey while upholding their principles. I'm Dawnette Palmore, your host and fellow entrepreneur. Join me as we immerse ourselves in illuminating conversations with accomplished experts spanning various fields across the business spectrum. Together, we'll unearth strategic insights into seizing opportunities and ensuring that your business is equipped with the essential elements aligned with your purpose and values. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Your Business on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Dawnette Palmore, and today we are going to be talking about thinking creatively about how to make more money. Which we're all trying to make more money, right? How can we make more money? How can we think outside the box? I think that sometimes as entrepreneurs, we get so stuck inside a box or a certain way that we have to do things or a certain way we have to get clients and market and all this stuff. But today, my guest and I are going to be talking about thinking outside of that box, which we have to do more often. But let me introduce you to Jennifer Yeh. She is the co-founder and COO of Shoot, a female-led startup revolutionizing access to professional photography across 60 plus cities. With over 20 years of experience in entrepreneurship, operations, and creative problem solving, she specializes in streamlining processes and driving growth. Jennifer's leadership has helped Shoot scale from $800,000 to over $10 million in annual revenue while maintaining a lean, efficient team. Passionate about innovation and lifelong learning, she combines her expertise in economics, technology, and marketing to help organizations do more with less and turn challenges into opportunities. Jennifer, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do, because that's really not that great of a description.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty thorough, I will say. But yeah, so I am one of the co-founders of Shoot, SHOOT.com. And we've been in business for about 7 years now. And I started this actually with my best friend from college. So we're still working together. So that's fun. And something that we had always joked around in college was like, hey, maybe we can make a living together. So 7 years ago, she approached me and she's like, hey, I'm starting to do the startup with one of our angel investors. And she's like, are you interested? We could fulfill our, college age dreams. And it was a scary time because I will say that when we first started, neither of us had the experience of running a startup or doing anything related to running a business. I had a little bit more in terms of like running Etsy shops, but in terms of like running an actual team with developers, with HR, all that stuff, we had no experience. So we kind of just dove, headfirst into it and figured out a lot of things on the way. And a lot of the things that were difficult for us, that were new for us, was actually related to finance, actually how to make money, right? We can start off running the business, but then when it turns to, hey, now you have to focus on actually making a profit, that's very hard to do. And it requires so many skills in terms of exactly thinking outside the box, really knowing your data, knowing how to look at numbers to be able to make the right decisions, taking calculated risks and all that. So that's where we are today. But as I mentioned before, before joining the startup, I did a lot of other things on the side to make money creatively, because as a single mom, you need to do what you have to do to make ends meet and to make sure you take care of your kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's brilliant. I mean, wow, how fun. You had this dream. And of course, we say a lot of things when we're younger and we don't think they're going to come to pass. And here it is, like the opportunity just dropped in your lap. Like, yes, it's totally, in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing in this world. Yes. But then you guys have taken it to like thinking outside the box. I mean, when you think about photographers, they don't go national. They don't go nationwide. They're just confined into their space. And as far as they're willing to travel, right? But you guys are obviously, if you have 60 plus cities, you guys are across the United States. Yes. And so how do you guys, before we dive into it, I mean, that's creative in itself. So do you guys sublet photographers or, okay, go ahead. Tell us how that happens.
Our photographers are all contractors. And we had to get creative in this area because there are actually a lot of freelance photographers already out there, so much talent out there, right? So we looked at this industry and we were thinking like, well, how do we be creative in the way we run a business? Because one of our main goals is that we wanted to support creatives. She has a background in not just banking, but also she's an actor on the side.
Oh,
So
cool.
obviously when you're working as a creative, it is actually very difficult to actually make a career out of it, right? Unless you're really in that top 1%. But we all want to do what we love. So we were like, okay, how do we help other creatives do more of what they love? And we were like, hey, photography seems like something we could do. So we were like, we have to obviously provide a very compelling thing for people to even want to try, because otherwise we're just like any other photographer. So the model that we came up with is that what if we aggregated demand? So one of the pain points that photographers have is that they usually will get one gig here, one gig there. So every day they're kind of traveling to 2 or 3 different places, which is really not efficient when it comes to time and a really kind of a pain in the butt, right? You have to coordinate all these directions and people have to meet you at different places. So we were like, okay, what if we chose different like parks and local hotspots around cities that we knew that people naturally like to take photos at or were just beautiful. And we can take the photographer, put them in that spot and just have clients come to them. And that
Mm.
way it becomes a day of back-to-back sessions, which saves the photographer a lot of time, makes them much more streamlined. And that savings, we were like, hey, we can pass that savings down in the form of a free photo shoot for clients, which is nobody else in the industry does that. There's always some sort of sitting fee or something else. So we were like, great. So that makes us different, right? People will look at them and be like, what is this? One, is it a scam? Right? Because they're like, how can it be
Yeah.
free?
What are you going to do
So
with
they
my
get curious.
pictures?
Yes, exactly. So we were like, okay, let's try that out. And then obviously we make the money when people do buy the photos. And we thought that would work because then it puts the onus on us to one, make sure that we get the right photographers, that we vet them. We have really good photographers who are a good fit for our business model. And two, that we market also to the right clients, right? They're not clients who are willy-nilly about booking a photography session. They actually want photos. So when you marry those two things together, clients are happy with the photographer they get, they're happy with their photos, and they naturally will buy more. And then when that happens, both Shoot and the photographer wins. So that was very different. No, again, nobody else does this. So we're like, great. So that's how we've been able to really get into the market and get in front of people, because we are so different that we do stand out in that way.
I love that. And I was looking at your website, and you guys also do something different, which is sell the pictures per picture, which I
Yes,
thought, okay, well, that's brilliant because it puts the customer back into control.
correct.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, if I get to pick the photos, I'm only picking the ones I like because, we're, bigger critics than anybody. But I would probably want to buy more, if that makes sense, right? Do you feel like people will spend a little bit more money because they're feeling like they're getting a great value and they're not being, I don't want to say hoaxed, but they're being sold something that maybe they didn't want all the photos or something
Yeah,
like that?
for sure. Like our policy is, hey, if you get your photos and you don't like any of them, you actually don't have to buy anything, right? Why pay for something you don't really like? Obviously, our photographers are really good, so that rarely happens. But after that, this is our whole, motto of we want to make professional photography accessible to everyone. So not everybody has the same budget. So if you're there, you just really want one good photo, you can do that. And they start at $25 each. Now, if you buy 10 or more, it goes down to $18 each. And then if you buy your full gallery, which is typically 80 to 90 photos for $298, then for people who want all their photos, it's a great buy. And you're right, because what the photographer and other people may think is a great photo, you might not think it's a great photo. And that was another pain point that we were trying to address too, because I've had professional photography done by freelance photographers, and they usually will choose 20 of the top ones that they really like. And when we look at it, we're looking at totally different things, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really like how I look in that photos. And it's really important for the client to like how they look in the photo, as well as the photo having good composition and whatnot. So one of the things that we have the photographers do is to make sure they really capture variety in that
Mm.
30-minute session, because you don't want the same picture over and over again. Then what's the point of even getting a whole gallery of like 40 plus
Right.
photos. So we really try to capture, different candid moments. Like if you come with a family, we're going to get different groupings, husband and wife or just the kids or whatnot, and really try to capture those genuine moments. So they're not
Mm,
all superposed so that so that the session itself is also fun, is making a memory, not just doing something you have to do. So it
yeah.
becomes like a whole package experience.
I love that. I love seeing those pictures of when the kids are screaming and things just aren't working out right. Those are,
Yes.
in the moment it's frustrating, but when you look back on it, you're just like, I'm so glad we captured that. You and I as
Absolutely.
mothers are like, oh,
Yes, actually, those are actually my favorite because it's real life. It's
yeah,
like you're capturing them at the stage, and if they're not happy, but it's kind of funny, cute. So
yeah, it
you don't
is.
need a picture perfect thing. I think it's nice to have those non-picture perfect moments. Those are
Yeah,
the real moments.
they are. So what are some ways that we can, think outside the box like you did? Because I mean, like you said, nobody does it and I've never heard of it.
Hmm.
There's everybody has their niche in photography and stuff to try to help them stand out, but nobody's going out getting the clients for them usually.
Yes.
So how can, service-based people think outside the box? Because that's what you guys offer. You guys offer, you guys are a little bit of both service and product because you have the
Yeah.
pictures, but how can we really just go outside the box and get more creative on packages or things that we're doing?
Yeah. So I will say the first thing is to be open-minded about things. I think one of the things we did well was we did a lot of networking, right?
Mm.
Because when you network and you meet other people and you listen to what they're doing, it starts, and if you keep an open mind, you start to generate a lot of ideas. Even if they're small, even if you don't go through with them, it starts those creative juices flowing, right? So, for example, if we meet like a vendor and we're like, oh, maybe we could do some sort of partnership. So some of the vendors that we started off with was doing other service stuff, which might have been like hair, like dry bar, for example. And at first, you may not think it has anything to do with your photos, but then because we were like, okay, we're always looking for new ideas, like maybe it could work, right? And we're like, hey, our customers need to get ready for their photo session. Why don't we try branching out and partnering with other things that could, feed into it, even if it's kind of related, not totally. We also partnered with somebody else. We did those silicone patches to get rid of wrinkles, or any
Oh,
kind of beauty products. You may not think necessarily like, oh, these people, who are getting photography will want that immediately. But when you start thinking about your demographic as a whole, you can start to get creative. It's like, our target market really is millennial and Gen Z moms, right? Anybody kind of going through those life stages. So when we look beyond photography, we're thinking, what what do our customers, what do they struggle with? What are their some of the pain points they're experiencing, right? And then from that, then we think, all right, maybe it's not directly connected to photos, but what if we offer that as a partnership, right? And so when you start there and you build that, what you get is not just people coming in as customers, but you're also expanding your network of people, right? You get exposed to a lot more people. Like they have their own group and they have their own networks, and people start to know about you. So that's a very nice way to get your name out there that doesn't necessarily require a lot of money, right? Sometimes you can do email exchanges, even if you don't end up doing something together, doing something small, even like a blog exchange, article exchange. That gets your SEO out there. So I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of these different connections and people you meet can really bring other opportunities that you may not see like a huge impact right away, but every little thing kind of builds up. And as you have these connections and other ideas, they may bring up other ideas, be like, hey, why don't we do a giveaway? Or have you thought about doing this? Maybe we can enroll you into this package. Like there's so many different ways of going about it. But if you're always sitting by yourself, you don't really have anything to bounce ideas off of. So it's like
yeah.
keeping an open mind that a lot of things could work. And why not give it a try? There's no harm for trying something. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it works, great.
Right, right. So what I hear you saying is like collaborating
Yes.
with other
Yeah.
businesses, and that's a brilliant idea because yeah, you obviously want your professional makeup, your professional hair done before you go get a photo shoot because they're
Hmm.
capturing you, and that's going to be usually something that's being branded across the internet.
Yeah. And I would say another thing, actually, in the very beginning, we actually thought our target market would be influencers because we started kind of when the whole Instagram influencer was becoming really big. And we realized that a little bit after that, that it wasn't influencers, it was families. And
Mm.
we were trying, we're like, this is kind of working, but not working as well as we thought. And then we were like, why don't we just try going in? So we started in New York City, and we're like, why don't we just try going to New Jersey? It's next door. Let's just see how that goes. And we found that it was all families that were booking our sessions. And that's how we realized, oh, we kind of had it all wrong in the beginning. Yeah. And that's kind of how we pivoted. So a lot of it is like, you just have to keep on trying different things until you find
Yeah.
what works. Yeah.
Testing. No, I love that because, sometimes people get so focused on a niche.
Mhm.
One, they don't want to focus on a niche because they want to serve everybody, which serves nobody. And
Yes.
then second, they get so focused on a niche that they don't pivot like
Yes.
you did. Like, oh, well, this
Yeah.
isn't working. So what can we do? Yeah, it's a lot more convenient for families just to have a place to go. I need to go here. She's going to be there. Bam, we're
Mhm.
done. Where influencers are like all over the place. They want a shot everywhere they go, right?
Right.
And be seen everywhere, which is hard for your business model.
Right.
So that's a great, like, um, thinking about who are we actually attracting,
Mhm.
and it's not always who we set out to attract.
Right. Right. For sure. Yeah, keeping an open mind is so important. I mean, in so many other ways when we're running our company, when we would hit, certain challenges, it's because we're able to pivot fast and be like, "If it's not working, we're not gonna be upset about it. It's just a thing. So let's do our research, let's test with different variables," and we're very systematic in how we do that. And if something doesn't work, we try to see that right away, and we let that go on to the next thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
No,
always very
that's a
forward
good
thinking.
thing to say to business owners because again, we can get fixated on something and try to make it work and try to make it work instead of
Yeah.
maybe our messaging's wrong, maybe nobody wants what we have, maybe, there's so many variables and their testing is like it's just what you have to do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what every business has to do, right? And then they found
Yes.
a niche and they just ran with it and got really good at it. And I
Yes.
feel like maybe as entrepreneurs, we get scared to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very scary because, again, you may fail, right? But I think part of that is, and sometimes we have tried things that didn't work. And, when that happens, I think we just have to, it's hard, right? Because you had to be able to prioritize. It's like, do we keep on trying? Have we tried enough? And then you have to make that decision. So a lot of that also comes in the form of, how do we get more information from the people we're trying to target so that you know whether or not it's something that's worth pursuing. So
Mm,
something that we do a lot whenever we have a new idea. So one of our recent ideas, we were like, hey, what if we offered something like paint by numbers, or those diamond paintings? We can turn photos into that, and maybe clients would love that for as a special gift on top of their photography. So we were, half the team was like, oh yes, let's get into this. Let's get a let's try to find other procurement people that we can get these products from. And we're like, hold on, before we do all that work, right? It's like, that's a great idea, and that's great to be creative. It's like, we need to make sure that this is actually what our client wants, because maybe we're excited about that, but we're just like one or two data points, right? So again, this is actually fairly simple. You can do a survey. We did a survey for our customers, and we asked them questions to be like, hey, is this something you would be interested in? And surprisingly, most of them did not want that. So once you can't be married to an idea that you came
yeah.
up with, right? Like, okay, that's fine. Then we focus on something else, right? So a lot of that, the pivoting is also really listening to
Mhm.
your own customer base, and letting go of what you necessarily envision that you want your service to be, because sometimes maybe that's not what the market wants. So it's a
Yeah,
little
you
bit
got
letting go of ego too,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And business, I think it's harder for women because 'cause we're just emotional beings, but business can't be emotional, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know for myself, it's hard to take emotion out of stuff when that's just
Yeah.
naturally how you are. But, like you said, doing surveys was great. So, did you guys just, like, email everybody, or did you do, like, a survey on Facebook? Like, how did you go about doing your
Mhm.
survey?
So we did one on Instagram. We did
Okay.
like a poll, because our market on Instagram is a little different in the sense that there's a lot more people who aren't necessarily clients yet, but they're just interested. And we also did it through an email where we're like, hey, we love your input. Takes 60 seconds or less to do. And so then we were able to see, like, is it just our customers who don't want it, or maybe non-customers wanting it? And that way we were able to make our decision. It was pretty unilaterally. People were not that interested. And listen, even though they're not interested now, we were like, you know what? We should try this again next year, because there's so many factors that play into whether or not people are interested in something, right? It could be the economy, like finances. There's so many things involved that sometimes you just have to know when to try again, when to move on. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything like that.
Well, also you're attracting families. They don't tend to want to sit down and do a paint by number, right? It's
Right.
more of like a couples thing, or
Yes.
you're painting for your mom or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that sounds kind of natural, right? But what a great idea. I mean, how fun.
Right. No, exactly. You just got to see. And then that way, if anybody else comes along, they're like, have you tried this? Like, yeah, we actually have, and it's good to kind of cross that off the list and just keep on going.
Yeah, and then if you have one person that says, "Hey, I'd like this," you said, "Oh, great. Well, we know somebody that can do that for you."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
another collaboration, right? Of just
Yes.
working with other businesses and helping each other's businesses out, because um, I think collaboration is huge. You can reach a bigger audience faster than if
Mm-hmm.
you're just trying to go it alone, like you said. Because what do
Yeah.
they say? If you want to go somewhere quick, do it by yourself. But if you want to go far, you have to have people with you.
Yes. And I think collaboration is so important. And we've been lucky enough to collaborate with other, you know, companies that really align with our values. We're partnering with Paper Culture, who does eco-friendly like cards and photo books and
Okay.
such. And it's also great to support other small businesses,
Yeah.
especially when they're also women-run businesses or minority run or anything like that. I think, when we're working and we're in a very capitalistic society, it's easy to kind of lose sight of why we're actually here. And while we do need something to do to make money, it's also good to remember that we are part of community, right?
Yeah.
And that it's good to partner with other people, not just to make money or to make your brand known, but it is part of the human experience to kind of celebrate everything that we're working towards and support each other. So I think that's something, we're always open to partners when they, they're like, hey, are you interested in having a talk? Like, yes. Like, even if we don't end up doing something, we meet other people, we learn about them, and maybe we could support them in other ways.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And you're right. Collaboration and community is so important. And um, especially, there's a statistic that I think it was like 50 years ago or before the Depression, like most of the businesses in America were owned by the people. It was
Hmm.
like 86%, like a lot.
Yeah.
And now it's like less than 5%
Oh,
is owned
wow.
by the people. So that is crazy.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
big disconnect happened, but when we build this community of small business, we have the big corporations for what they do. But how else when we look at small businesses, and I can even say micro businesses, right? Because small
Mhm.
businesses is a huge definition. Um, we're not just supporting a stock market, we're
Yeah.
supporting someone's family and
Yes.
helping build their dreams
Yes.
and helping them reach their goals and build that generational wealth and hopefully pass it on to their children and be able to keep that alive. I mean, I loved when companies are like, "Oh, it's like fifth, sixth generation." You're like, "That is amazing."
Yeah. No, it is really special, and we've done things where we've partnered with, like, local pet shops because we also do pet
Oh,
photography as
yes,
part of that,
yes. That's probably
and
popular here in California.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, who doesn't love pets, you know? We have tons of pets in our family, but, yeah, I think a lot of that too is, one of the things that we are doing, the model supports local photographers. And, we started off wanting to support local photographers. So that all of that really plays really well. It just goes together, right? Then if there's like a local shop, we've done free headshots for those businesses to help them grow their business. We know how hard it is,
Yeah,
you need
yeah,
all the support you can have. I mean, adulting itself is hard enough, let alone
yeah.
even trying to run a business, right?
Yeah, it's
So
a little
yeah.
bit of a sham.
Yeah, I know.
No, I love that. I've seen, like, I've gone into offices where the owner has paid for pet photos, and
Mhm.
then they painted their pets and they put them in the hall of the business. And it's
Yes.
like, what a great way to connect with your employees and
Yes.
really show them that you care about them, but also put a piece of them in the office and something that they
Yeah.
care about.
We spend so much time in the office or working, like, if you can
Yeah.
make it a good, healthy place, why not?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you should.
Yeah.
So this was a great conversation. What a eye-opening, and just, really like how creative I guess our cap is how creative we can get. Like
Yes.
that would be our cap. And
Yeah.
if we take the cap off, then we're not going to have one. So
Yeah.
that's really amazing. And thank you so much for this conversation. So if
Of course.
somebody's saying, okay, one, I'm a photographer, I need to connect with them and see how I can, we can collaborate, or I'm a local business, or whatever, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah. So for photographers, if you go on our website, shootwith2ts.com, you'll see there's a place for careers and there's a section for photographers, and you can see our process, our requirements and whatnot. We always welcome applications. We're always looking at photographers' portfolios. And then for businesses who want to partner with us, you can just email info@shoot.com. Again, shoot with 2 T's. And then we'll always get back to you because, again, we're interested in talking to anyone and everyone.
I love it. I love it. And that's what we got to do. We got to open conversations,
For
whether
sure.
we can get something out of that person or not.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a connection that's already really special. So we don't always have to get something out of everyone, right?
Exactly. No, we can just get communication, which is always a good
community.
thing.
Yes.
But thank you so much for spending your time here with us. And thank each one of you for being here, because wouldn't have a podcast without you. But remember, conducting a business on purpose not only fuels your success, but also propels you towards a purposeful life. So until next time, embrace your journey of intentional business and purposeful living. This podcast is dedicated to you and all the incredible women out there breaking chains, pushing through, and striving to make it all work. Your support truly means the world to me. Could you do me a favor? Be a gem and leave a review. It will help us reach even more women, making a bigger impact. Your feedback is invaluable, and I would genuinely appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, ensuring you never miss an episode. Until next week, live a purposeful life in both your business and your finances.